It's just so ironic that I was using makeup as something to make me feel confident, but it eventually did the opposite. It made me so self-conscious. It made me insecure. It made me lack confidence in the most simplest interactions. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ellie Jane, and I like to make all sorts of videos from cooking to dancing to talking videos like this. So if you're into any of that, be sure to subscribe. So today I wanted to talk about something that's a little more sensitive. It's a little more controversial. I feel like I have a different opinion on this from the vast majority of people. It's something that I've experienced firsthand. I do want to preface this by saying that you should probably stay tuned till the end of the video if you have something to say, because maybe I address it later on. But today we're gonna be talking about makeup and why I stopped wearing makeup. And ironically, I am wearing makeup in this video. I have my brows filled in, I have mascara on, but as someone that used to wear a full face of makeup, I am barely wearing anything today. On a day-to-day basis, I do not wear makeup, and I'm not saying that to put myself on like a high horse, like I don't wear makeup. I'll dive into that later, but I'm only speaking from my own experience, so don't take this personal. If you can relate to it, then that's great. I just wish I would have heard this perspective sooner. So makeup is obviously a very powerful tool right now. A lot of people wear makeup. It's been such an interesting timeline, like how much people wear makeup, the different trends, the different colors that are more popular, the methods, techniques. Makeup has evolved and changed so much, especially over the last 20 years, I feel like. Just to give you a little bit of background with my experience with makeup, I wasn't allowed to wear makeup until I kind of just like started wearing makeup myself in high school. Junior high, I played a little bit with eyeliner, but I got in trouble for that, so I stopped. And then in high school, I just wore like a bit of makeup. I did my eyebrows, I wore mascara, and that was about it. After high school, I wore lashes for the first time on my graduation day, and I glued it myself, and it was so janky. Like it was lifting on the inner corner, and it was like poking my eye, and my eyes were watering. My interest in makeup started growing, especially when I worked at Sephora. I was applying makeup on people every single day, eventually became a certified makeup artist. We even had a requirement of how much makeup we had to wear, the amount of eyeshadows we had to wear, a lip color, you had to have a complexion, like your foundation done. Having all of these requirements every day that I come into work, it just became such a habit to put this on my face, and it was literally a routine. I got so used to seeing myself with makeup. At first, I was feeling really confident, you know, like I would come to work and people would compliment me on my makeup. And as someone who wasn't really like noticed before, you know, like in elementary, junior high, high school, like I never had a boyfriend. The male gaze was something that I never experienced until I started wearing makeup. And this was something that was really different for me. Of course, it felt nice to be complimented or noticed. It felt nice because I had never experienced that before. So it was definitely like feeding my ego, and I didn't know it at the time, but it just happened right under my nose, and it happened really quickly. Of course, you just want to learn like how can I be better at it. The way that I was approaching makeup, like I would just like look at my face and be like, okay, let's make my nose slimmer, let's make my forehead smaller, let's make my cheekbones stand out more. I was constantly going after the trend, especially when I was able to make my forehead look smaller. That was something that I spent a lot of time and money on. There was like a spray that you would use to cover your gray hairs, and I would put that in my hairline to make it look smaller. It made me feel better about myself in a very false way, because once I would wash that off, once I would wash off my makeup, I was back to who I really was, and that made me really uncomfortable. I eventually noticed that like I didn't like going out without makeup. I felt embarrassed or ashamed if I was like first meeting someone without makeup on. Looking back now, it was actually like very crippling to rely on makeup so much to feel good about yourself. And I feel like at the time, you know, it was like you shouldn't question why a woman is wearing makeup, or you shouldn't tell her not to wear makeup. Those people were canceled if you like told a woman not to wear makeup. If you dive deeper, someone could be saying don't wear makeup, you are good enough without it. I feel like that voice, that sense of empowerment, it was just getting shut down. I feel like if a man or a woman were to tell you like you don't need makeup, you should embrace your natural beauty, for me at that time I would be defensive and I'd be like, don't tell me I don't have to wear makeup. Like, it makes me feel good about myself. What's wrong with feeling good about myself? But I think where it goes wrong is if it's like actually your crutch for confidence and you can't step out or show up as just yourself. I found that I was introducing myself with my external appearance and not who I actually was. I would introduce myself and it would just become so normal that someone would first compliment my makeup. If someone wasn't complimenting me on my makeup, I'd be like, damn, did I do a bad job today? It's so deep. Like, it actually got so deep. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I would do the full face. Okay, like I would do foundation, contour, highlight, blush, brows, eyeshadow, eyeliner, lashes. Like, I did the full glam and I got so used to seeing myself that way. I kind of talked about this in one of my other videos, but it gave me like a false sense of confidence because I relied on people's compliments and feedback to feel good about like what I put on my face that day. Eventually I started having skin problems related to food, so I was breaking out really, really bad. I just wanted to hide it because I was so obsessed with how can I make my face as perfect as possible. So I would just wear like layers and layers of foundation and it would honestly look even worse, but I felt like, okay, maybe it looks a bit better. I knew deep down that my skin just needed to breathe, but I just resisted that, would like cover up my face. Eventually I decided like I should give my skin a break. So I showed up to work without foundation. One of my managers was like, where's your complexion? I was like, I just want my skin to breathe. And they were like, well, you should at least wear like tinted moisturizer. And I was like, my skin was very stable before I started breaking out from food. So when I had like acne and couldn't figure out where it was coming from at the time, it really beat my confidence down even more. I just felt like I couldn't exist without makeup. And so when I finally had the courage to go out without my complexion on and just be vulnerable with my acne, for someone to say that, like I actually felt so defeated. And I ended up crying that day to my boss and she like apologized and whatever. I forgave her obviously, but it was more about me being insecure and not being able to speak up about it. My partner was actually the one that helped me to embrace myself, not for how I looked, but for who I am. That is something that I think people need to stop dismissing and getting defensive over. If someone says you should embrace your natural beauty, they're not just saying it. I feel like in complete objective honesty, I think everyone looks better without makeup. Sure, you could say that that's my opinion, but it really shows if someone relies on makeup for their confidence. I actually like can see that now. And I don't know if it's because I've been in that place already, but just being able to introduce yourself with your personality instead of your looks, it's just so much more freeing. And not having to think about, I'm going to the grocery store, I better like put my eyebrows on. That used to be me too. I used to feel like I had to put my eyebrows on everywhere that I go because that's one of my biggest insecurities is how sparse my eyebrows are. And I do really want to emphasize that I'm not telling people to stop wearing makeup completely. I still obviously wear makeup every now and then. Like I have my eyebrows and my eyelashes done. I think you need to recognize what power does this tool have over you and how does it affect your everyday life? How does it affect your confidence without it? Do you feel like you have to hide your face if you're not wearing makeup? Do you feel embarrassed to run into someone that you know without makeup? What kind of grip does this have over your life? If your partner says like, let's just go on a date really quick, do you feel like you have to spend an hour to get ready, or can you just go out and show up as you are? Because ultimately, like, you want this to make you feel better about yourself, but you don't want it to cause excessive self-consciousness, which is what I experienced. Spotlight syndrome. I just felt like everywhere I went, people were looking at me, and in reality, no one really cares. No one cares whether you have acne or not. Like, I mean, I feel like to really put it in perspective, look at how you look at strangers when you're walking down the street and you know, if you see somebody with acne or if you see someone with full face, you do not care. That really put things in perspective for me. I just really want to emphasize that I feel so much more free now, that my daily routine doesn't revolve around how much time I have to get ready, and that I don't have to feel anxiety if I don't have enough time to get all glammed up and do the whole full face thing. And I'm constantly thinking of my appearance when I'm like speaking to someone. I think it's just so ironic that I was using makeup as something to make me feel confident, but it eventually did the opposite. It made me so self-conscious. It made me insecure. It made me lack confidence in the most simplest interactions. If someone is ugly on the inside, but they're pretty on the outside, you will never look at them as a beautiful person. But if someone isn't conventionally beautiful on the outside but has such a good heart, you will always see them as a beautiful person. And that's the way that I want to show up for the world. Like I've said many times in this video already, I don't want to introduce myself with my appearance. I just want to be a good person. And that's something that I focused on over the past year, was how can I gain the strongest sense of confidence? And that comes from within. It doesn't come from a makeup brush. It doesn't come from a palette. It doesn't come from the best foundation on the market. It comes from in here. This is like something that I look forward to teaching. This is so like cheesy that I'm like tearing up, but I think this is just making me emotional because I'm getting like flashbacks to when I was that younger girl who actually believed that being beautiful was like more important than being a good person. But I didn't think that consciously. I didn't ever say that to myself, but that's what I was thinking, is that if I'm beautiful on the outside, like I will be accepted, I will be good enough. And it's just so backwards. It will require a lot of mental effort to reverse that belief and to stop feeding into the consumerism in the beauty industry, like you needing to have the best palette, the best foundation, the best setting powder, the best setting spray. It's such a trap. I've saved so much money not having to buy makeup for months, not feeling like I have to cover a pimple. I've saved myself an immense amount of stress. I really just don't care, and it's so freeing. If makeup has become any bit of a burden to you, that's a sign that maybe it's time to look within and to harness that confidence, show it in like the most powerful way, which is just by expressing who you are as you are, and not feeling the need to look like a better version of yourself, because the best version of yourself has no price on it. You can't buy it at Sephora, you can't buy it at Ulta, you have to find it in here. I'm very fortunate that I have a partner who encouraged me to embrace my natural self and wasn't like, just do whatever you want, do whatever makes you feel good. Like I was doing something that I thought made me feel better about myself, but it really wasn't. And sometimes you get lost in what that is, and that's what happened to me. So anyways, if you stayed tuned to the end of this video, thank you for sharing your energy with me and for listening to me. I am grateful for any way that you can support my channel, whether that's with a thumbs up or by hitting subscribe. I look forward to chatting with you next time. Leave a comment down below on what makeup has done for you. And if you want to reshape your relationship with makeup, leave that down below too. I'm curious to know. And thank you again, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.